your online presence and expand your business reach? Our marketing team can definitely help you. Advertise with us today and let Imagine Me TV take your business to the next level. We are offering 3 affordable packages to the end of 2020. Package number 1, you will receive 1 flash ad at the opening of the show. We will also share your business name, location, and phone numbers, and that is only $59.99. In package number 2, you will receive everything from package number 1, but you will also get a second flash ad in the middle of the show. In package number 3, you get to be the show sponsor, and you will receive everything in package number 2. Plus, we will list your website, and you will also have a 30-second video ad. These are some amazing prices. So what are you waiting for? Contact us today at email address info@leagueyourbrandltd.com, or you can call us at 614-402-7034. You can also visit our website at leagueyourbrandltd.com. You can catch our show on several broadcasting platforms like liveyourstreaming.com, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also on Imagine Me TV network at League Your Brand Limited Company. We have viewers in all 50 states and globally. We are international, we are national, we are worldwide. Canada, Africa, Asia, Europe, the Caribbean islands, just to name a few. We are Imagine Me TV, your number 1 virtual TV talk show. Hello, good evening. After seeing that ad, man, if I didn't have my show, I would call Imagine Me TV and I'll book my own show because this is the place to be, because I'm telling you, Imagine Me TV is going places. And I'm just before the show started, I went online and I did Google Analytics, and I'm going to call out some of the names of the places that have visited our website, League Your Brand website, and that is where Imagine Me TV is. And even after I put it, my husband will put it up. I mean, we have the United States, Canada, Ireland, Barbados, Germany, United States, Dominica in there, France, Trinidad and Tobago, China, Nigeria, St. Martin, the Philippines, Israel, Italy, Pakistan, Bermuda, Colombia, Morocco, Martinique, Saudi Arabia, Antigua and Bermuda, Anguilla, Australia, Bangladesh, the Bahamas, Costa Rica, Spain, Finland, Iran, Colombia, Guadeloupe, Hong Kong, Jamaica, Kenya, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Martin, Mongolia, Puerto Rico, Thailand, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the British Virgin Islands, Vietnam, South Africa, Japan, Russia, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Oh my goodness. God is good. Whoa. I mean, when I started this, I did not see it going this way, but we serve a good God, and he does all things well. He gives us his best. Today I can really say the favor of God surrounds me like a shield, and I am a child of the Queen, of the King. I am a masterpiece, and I'm just so thankful to God for all that he has done. So I'm telling you, if you're looking for a way to get your brand out there, to get your name out there, Imagine Me TV is the place to be. We will be, we've already launched, but we have it where if you want to have your own show, just go ahead and give me a call. But I am excited. I am super excited, and I feel so honored for today's guest. I'm going to just read just a bit, maybe about a couple paragraphs of his bio, but his bio doesn't do him justice, because he's an amazing person. His name is Taiwo, and he helped me say the name, but I'm not really sure. Is it? I'm gonna wait and have him pronounce it, because I do not want to brutalize the name in case he's he might be a king or a prince, and next thing I mess the name up and I get in trouble. But Taiwo currently serves as assistant city manager and director of planning, design, and development with the city of Charlottesville. Taiwo is a member of the city's executive leadership team and provides support to planning, housing and neighborhood services, transportation, and Charlotte's area transit service department. As director, Taiwo directs a staff of more than 100 employees in a department responsible for planning activities in the city and unincorporated portions of Mecklenburg County. It currently oversees the city rewrite of a 20 years comprehensive plan as well as the city's development code. Recently, Taiwo led his staff to overhaul the city's transit oriented development ordinance, the first time in 15 years. Its vision is for an equitable, livable, sustainable, and inclusive Charlottesville. Taiwo has more than 26 years of work experience nationally, intentionally in both public and private sectors. Taiwo has managed a multi-million dollar federally funded light rail, bus, rapid transit, and streetcars project across the United States. Taiwo is currently a board member of the Charlotte Center City Partners, University City Partners, and the Habitat for Humanity of Charlotte. He is a member of the American Planning Association Women's Transportation Seminar and the American Public Transportation. Let us welcome Taiwo. And can you pronounce your last name for me again?
Jaiyeoba, Taiwo Jaiyeoba.
Jaiyeoba. That was so far from what I had in my mind. I'm glad I did that say. But it's beautiful. Like I mentioned to you, that I sent it to my brother-in-law because my brother-in-law is from Nigeria. And I mean, although I tried, but that anyway, my brother, welcome. It is such an honor and such a pleasure to have you with us this Sunday evening. And I know that you're going to be empowered. I know that you're going to really help our viewers, and even, someone is going to be when they leave this life today, they're going to really be encouraged. So welcome. And I want to encourage our viewers. You do not want to keep that amazing show for yourself. So go ahead and share the live, invite your friends, invite your family. In case you have enemies, invite them, because after today, they won't be your enemy no more. So welcome, my brother Taiwo. How you doing?
Thank you. Very well. How are you?
I am doing well. I think usually this is one of the highlights of my day. Just being able to do the show, and it's a blessing, because this is all God, because I never thought this was something that I would do. So I'm really just thankful to God for His favor.
That's great, and thank you for having me on the show.
It's my pleasure, and I know you have a lot. We have a lot to talk about, so I am just gonna jump right in. And even before I go into the first question, I want you to tell us who is Taiwo, and also I met you, I think, when I moved to Atlanta in 2013.
Yes.
Your wife, I think, was one of the first couple that came to our store and visit us in Atlanta. And but I mean, I actually met you more in words and pictures, in conversations and stuff like that. Just like my husband, when he would meet people, they knew so much about him. It's like, huh? So we usually talk about our man really good. So I knew about you and stuff, but when I met you, it was such a pleasure to meet you. So tell us just, who is Taiwo, and, a little bit about your family and stuff like that. And then you can just maybe go into the first question to tell us about your vision and motivation for moving to the United States. So pretty much all of it in one. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Once again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and to our audience, I'm happy to be here, and definitely sharing your life, your profession, and all of that. There's always one or two lessons that we can take from, such stories. So I'm looking forward to our dialogue tonight. So who is Taiwo? Well, I am married to my wife, Ronke, and that's how we first met. Obviously, you've seen pictures of me before we met, and then it was roughly around 2013. I believe that she was visiting Atlanta. I was going to spend Christmas in Atlanta when we came to visit you. So I still remember it was roughly around this time or so,
Yes, yes.
some years back. And remember the beautiful store we came into and all these wonderful clothing, the hats, the dresses, and all of it. Really beautiful stuff.
Yes.
So it's really good to be there. But of course, 2 years later, 2015, we got married and then relocated to Charlotte. The company had actually been asking me to relocate to Charlotte at that point in time, but it was something that I was considering, but at the same time, I wasn't sure. But since I was in Atlanta and she had lived all her life in the United States, in Columbus, we
Yeah.
felt that identifying a new environment where we could blend our two families together, that would be new to both of us, where we could really forge an identity independent of where we were geographically. Charlotte offered that opportunity. So we're glad that we took that. But I grew up in Nigeria, was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. And after my master's program, moved down to Botswana, which is a country north of South Africa,
Okay.
to join my dad, who was working there as a professor of mental health at the University of Botswana. My intention really was to visit with him and then to head out to the United Kingdom for another master's program in urban design. But when I got to Botswana in 1992, I fell in love with that country and decided I was going to stay there. So I worked for the government of Botswana really for about 3 or so years. And then in 1996, moved to the United States. The interesting thing is that when I was leaving Nigeria in 1992, I knew at the back of my mind that Botswana was just going to be a stepping stone to somewhere, but I wasn't sure it was going to be the United States. I had visited the United States when I was about 11 years old, but it was a very negative experience. And so I wasn't sure that I wanted to come back to the country. And so, but I knew Botswana was a stepping stone to somewhere. But within weeks of arriving in Botswana, I knew so clearly, and God showed me so clearly that He was moving me to the United States, but I did not know when or where.
Yeah.
And so in 1996, after we got the green card, moved to the United States. But before I left Botswana, I remember writing in my journal that I am going to the United States of America and I will be the planning director of a major American city. I wrote it down in my journal at that time. Of course, I forgot all about it until 22 years later in 2018, when the city of Charlotte invited me to be the city's planning director. So sometimes you have a dream, right? And it doesn't come to fruition until many, many years later. 1996, I wrote it in my journal. I am going to the United States and I will be the planning director of a major American city. I wasn't thinking about Charlotte then. But then 22 years later, in 2018, ended up becoming the planning director of this city, which is the 15th largest city in the country by population. So I'm living the dream. Let's put it that way, literally.
That is amazing to talk about when the word of God say write the vision. I mean, you're speaking to somebody today, and I've always tell even in my coaching, I always tell people write. And I have so many journals. And so that's writing it and confessing it. That is powerful. That
Yeah, it is.
wow, that is living the dream. And I remember when you sent me a note that I did not really have a topic, and then when I read it, that and I rewrote it, but I'm not exactly sure what it said. I think it was let's see
Oh,
what
I think I said I didn't wake up like this.
I didn't wake up like this, and I was like, I like this because a lot of times people look at you and look at us, or look at people that have moved from one place and it's like, oh wow, I want to be like this. I wish I had this, and they don't realize it's a process, it's a journey, and that's what we are going to walk through. And your wife is a really good friend of mine. I remember when I was going through my divorce and going through some really tough times, she was there with me. But even before I was going through the divorce, I remember she went to Nigeria, and she was one of my first models as well. She modeled for me. I mean, we went to California. We went to different places together. And she's always supported me. But she went to Nigeria, and then when she came back, she brought me this beautiful piece of African lace. And I was still married at the time, but it was years after I understood that, because I told her, I said, this is going to be my this is going to be a wedding dress, not knowing that I was going to be divorced. And then I didn't make a wedding dress with it, and I put it in the show when I showed in New York. But I did got married again, so that was like really a blessing. But so when we were talking earlier, I was like, wow, you are in a house, one man, and how many women do you have around you?
So I have my wife and 7 children, all girls.
All girls, all girls. Wow, tell us what that's like, because I have one girl.
I have to say, we have a dog, and he's a male dog. It is a small dog, so that counts. That counts. That should count for something. But I have learned that people know a lot in this house more than I do, and so. But it's a pleasure to be here, because I have to set an example of what a man should be like, what a boy should be like. And I have to be authentic as well. To my kids, they know when I'm upset, they know when I'm happy, they know when I'm, in one mood or the other, and they know when I'm really excited over something. But very important is not just to be a man in the house, but also be a man of God. Right. Yeah. So I lead my family in devotional. I would say that maybe 90% of the time. And there are times when we just, if Ronke, my wife, isn't leading it, we ask one of them to lead it. And there are times that we will just ask them to share scriptures. And there's some days, instead of just looking at scriptures, we tell them, tell us what your day was like. And sometimes that's how we know what's going on. And we end up getting to pray for them. So it's not enough for me to set an example of what a guy should be like, but also to set an example of what a man of God should be like. And I often joke with them that it's important that when you eventually bring someone to us to introduce to us as your future husband, it's important that the person understands not just about God, but also understands how to earn a living, how to work hard, and how to understand in life that, it's not about luck. It's really about hard working and really, valuing you as a woman, and protecting you and being there for you. And so do I have, moments of imperfection? Of course, they see that as well, but I also make sure that it's a learning moment for them. So it's fun being here. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I had 5 girls of mine, and Ronke has 2. And when we came together as 2 families in 2015, I never saw my kids as stepchildren, that they're mine. And so I definitely try to do my part to raise them and to understand them. And we've been married now for 5 years. There's still a whole lot more understanding and knowing to do. Because one thing about girls is you never know them totally, right? Yeah. They evolve every day.
Wow, that's a blessing though, because to be have a blended family. And I like what you said, that you don't see them as your stepchildren, you see them as your children, and that's a blessing, especially you get the opportunity to raise them, that's and I think for the children, it's important to know, and for them to feel that that he's my dad. He doesn't treat me like, okay, well, that's my wife's child, or she treats like that's my husband's child. This is our children. So that's a blessing, and it's very important to set those examples to them. Yes, you said like you play with them, you laugh with them and stuff, but I like the part that you say, even when they bring someone home to you, and because a lot of times these days, a lot of families, a lot of people don't do that anymore. They go get married, so you don't even know they get married.
Yeah, I'm still old-fashioned.
Yes, that. Yeah, I know. Even in the day and age that we live, because we got married in 2016, and even I'm grown and was married before, I still had to. We had to go to the doctor, and he still had to go to my parents and make sure that they liked him, or whether they didn't like him, or that I was still gonna marry him either way. But I still had to do what was right, and bless God that they love him. So yeah. So we're
Very
gonna
important.
go on, and then I know I've seen your children, and you and Ronke, you guys are doing an amazing job. I've seen some of them graduated high school,
Mhm.
college, and,
Yeah.
and I mean in little time. That's really a blessing.
Yeah, we thank God.
Be a blessing.
Yeah,
So
thank God. And
congratulations to you guys. You guys are doing an amazing job.
it's the
Yes,
grace of
and
God.
be an example to other families. But we're gonna keep on going. So you say you have more than 26 years of work experience
Yes.
nationally and internationally in both public and private sector. Tell us about your journey through these years, including your studies and accomplishments.
It's definitely not been an easy journey. Like I said earlier to you, if I were to write a book, the title would be I Did Not Wake Up Like This. It was hard, but it's paid off. And I would say it's paying off. And I would say to people that it wasn't about being lucky. It was a combination of God's favor and working hard. I think it was Oprah Winfrey who said success is 99% hard work and 1% luck. And until I went to MIT this year for a 6-week certificate in leadership, all my educational accomplishments were from Nigeria. I have had no professional license in the United States. I still have my African accent. My kids make fun of me from time to time. And I did not change my name, even though it might be difficult for people to pronounce. I stayed true to myself, and I have tried to stay true to myself.
Yeah.
But there's a couple things that have helped me in my journey, though. I have learned to cultivate and grow relationships, and also not to exploit people.
Mhm.
It's very important because people will remember.
Yeah.
I do explore, though. I explore every good opportunity that's come my way. And so if there's one opportunity that comes my way, I try to find out more about it and see if it aligns with my future goals, my career goals, and really where I truly want to be. Twice I became a director of planning in Sacramento and also in Grand Rapids, but not for the city. I became director of planning for those agencies. In Sacramento, it was an agency that had about 1,100 people. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, I took a step down and I was a planning director for a department that had only about 300 or so people. And so all of those two positions, they prepared me to become planning director for a city that's almost 900,000 people. And along the way, I had mentors who could help me, whether they were spiritual mentors or financial mentors or professional mentors. They were mentors who helped me. So that's why I said it's important that you cultivate relationships and you build relationships, but do not exploit people. Don't take
Yeah.
advantage of people. And everything you encounter in life has a lesson behind it, and there's a person behind the lesson. And it's always very important to have that relationship, because there's one thing or the other you're going to learn from them and from those experiences that will prepare you for the type of future you want to be. Joseph in the Bible is a classic example. For every step down that he had, there was a lesson. And until he was ready to become the prime minister of Egypt, he wasn't, he had to learn all of those things that prepared him for that very moment. So it's not been an easy journey, but I would not change that journey for the world. I think that everything there prepared me to be here today. Like you said, I've also gone through divorce. And, raising 5 children as a single father was not the easiest thing. But here I am today, and I truly believe that there's a lot more to come and to be done. But all of those lessons, all of those people behind the lessons taught me one thing or the other that's really prepared and shaped me and my life in this country.
Very good, very good. And you did a great job as a single father. Because I mean, I met you. I met the girls. Well, not personally, but even just hearing about them and stuff and seeing the pictures, the accomplishment. You did a great job. You
Thank
mentioned
you.
something about exploiting.
Mm.
How do you handle when someone has exploited you? And I'm asking that question for myself because even as a
Mhm.
fashion designer and in the work that I've done, I have gotten exploited. I mean, so many times. To this day, there are people out there that still have my designs. And I mean, one person lost like $3,000 worth of my designs. And they're just like it was no big deal.
Mm.
Another one, she has my design. Another one has a couple of and I'm like, whoa. And sometimes it makes me say, like, you know what, I don't want to help people no more. I want to deal with people. But and I want to just even some of it just let it go. But I mean, how do you move on from that, or how do you handle that, or do you just not have anything to do with that person again?
Isn't it? I mean, isn't it why sometimes we put up walls, because when people have taken advantage of you, you tell yourself it's not going to happen again, and you tend to put up walls. And there are people like that who see you for what they will get from you rather than what they will get out of you. And so instead of looking for lessons and things that you can teach them and that maybe you can mentor them, they look to you as a stepping stone to something or somewhere. And once they're done, they move on. They don't even remember you. And so when the next person comes, we put up a wall, even if the other person has genuine intentions. But because of what the previous people have done, we tend to build a wall. But what I have found out is this: it is not my fault to trust you. It
Mm,
is your fault when you break that trust. And so I have to treat everyone as individuals and not the same. And so it's not an easy thing to do. It's easier said than done. But I find that if I were to treat people with the treatment that others have given me, the likelihood is that I'm going to lose. I learned something a long time ago from someone. He said, every time God wants to promote you, he sends somebody into your life. And the same thing is true. Every time the devil wants to set you back, he
mm,
sends someone into your life. So the key is to have the wisdom to discern who sent this person into my life, God or the other guy. And so if I can understand that God has sent someone into my life, then I walk with them and I try as much as possible to make sure that they earn my trust and that I continue to make it a two-way street and two-way relationship. If it's meant to be, they will stay. If
mm.
it's not meant to be, they will walk away. And so but having said all of that, is that we've also got to learn to protect ourselves without putting up a wall. And that is that we need to let people know when they come into our lives, this is what I'm going to be demanding of you. If you want me to mentor you, I'm going to be asking of this. I'm going to be asking if you know you're not capable of doing it, maybe this isn't going to work. There's nothing wrong in protecting ourselves by setting certain rules in place and making sure that if people are serious truly, they will not see them as rules. They will see them as guardrails, and they will see them as a way of us protecting ourselves. So, can you be successful 100% of the time with that principle? Maybe not, but you're likely going to succeed with more people than not.
Very good. I'm gonna really take that into consideration. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own show because I think that is very, very good information. I really appreciate it. So thank you for, breaking it down like that for me. That's amazing.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
what are some of the challenges that you experience and how did you overcome them?
I played a clip to my kids a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it was last weekend. Actually, it was a Denzel Washington clip. In that clip, he said his is a greater threat to progress than hardship. His is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So many times, people who come from whether it's Africa or who come from the Bahamas or Jamaica or who come from countries that they're not looked at as first world countries, right?
Mhm,
We tend to think that hardship is the reason why we're not making progress. But
mhm.
so many times it's not hardship. It's sometimes it's because we take things easy. The Bible says, woe to those who are at ease on Mount Zion, right?
Yeah.
And so I have been laid off work before. When I was in Botswana, I was laid off work. I did not even know how I was going to pay the rent for my house. I had had salary reduction in the height of the recession in the 2000s, and I had to leave California, a warm, nice, cozy weather, to move to Grand Rapids to take a lesser paying job, but a good job nonetheless, but it was lesser paying. Um, I've gone through the pain of divorce and even through a more painful experience of custody battle with my ex. I lost my father to cancer while I was going through the divorce.
Mhm.
And, when I was a consultant, I had opportunities that I thought could land me millions of dollars, only to lose those opportunities to people that I thought were not as good as I was. And so it is a lot of painful experiences that make you want to quit or that make you want to say, you know what, I think I'm just going to do something less. But the fact is that if it was easy, everybody will be doing it.
Yeah.
There is never a straight path to the mountaintop.
Mhm.
It's going to have to be zigzag and up and down. And eventually, if you don't give up, you'll get there. And so, one thing that I've learned over and over, I'm telling you, in this very country, I've been called the N word, even in church. I've been told to go back to my country. I've been told by my boss that yeah, you deserve the promotion, but you don't deserve the compensation that comes with it, simply because you're black. I was told that before. And so when you think about all of these things, you tend to want to, your faith and confidence in people totally go down. And you just want to call it quit. But you cannot succeed if you quit. You
Mm.
can't succeed if you are not determined. And so, for every setback that I have had, I've learned to step back so that I can come back. And that's kind of how I look at it. Every setback offers you an opportunity to take a step back, take another look at it, do measurement and evaluation. Maybe you're approaching this wrong, and then you come back. If I had quit when I wasn't offered a planning director job, for example, in Sacramento, when I was going to be a planning director for this agency that had about 1,100 employees, um, if I decided I was going to be mad and left, they would not have come back to offer me that job. And
Mm.
so if you are bypassed for promotion, don't quit yet. Just stay there and continue to work hard and be determined. Maybe it's not going to be there, maybe it's somewhere else, but somewhere that determination and your willingness not to quit will end up paying dividends at the end of the day. So if it was never meant to be easy, because if it was, everyone will be doing it.
Wow, that's really very empowering and very encouraging. Like when you said, sometimes you have to take a step back and
Mm-hmm.
evaluate, and I always tell people don't quit. Like
Yeah.
for quitting is not an option. I do feel like quitting sometimes when it seems like it's so overwhelming,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm not where I want to be, but then it doesn't last really long. I snatch out of it and like,
Uh-huh.
okay, he's brought me thus far, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are the assistant city manager, director of planning, design, and development for the city of Charlottesville. That's North Carolina. Tell us the story behind coming to this position and what this position involves.
So let me quickly say it's the city of Charlotte. So, and Charlotte is the 15th largest city in the country. And I often remind people it's also the fifth fastest growing city in the country. The number one fastest growing city on the East Coast, I might add. And it's a long story. We could spend the rest of tonight saying it, but I will not. So,
Oh,
I was working for a private company in Atlanta when they came to me and they said, hey, listen, we figure that you're going to be seeking promotion at some point. But the only way for you to get promoted is if you were to relocate to Charlotte, our Charlotte office. And okay, maybe you should take a look at it. But I was in the middle of a custody battle, and it was not a pleasant battle. And you don't relocate in the middle of that, right? And so I kept coming back here to see what Charlotte will offer. I was in Atlanta trying to see what this city was like and if it was okay to move here. And as I was praying as well. And so eventually I kept hearing it at the back of my mind that this is a good move. You're not just moving because your company is transferring you. There's a bigger purpose behind this move. And so again, I journaled it, just like I journal a lot of things. So I did. I ended up moving in 2015. And thank God I did not lose my kids' custody, but we had a good arrangement with a mother. And yet, despite all my fears, I'm glad that it turned out well. But I moved here to be a consultant, and I changed jobs 3 times during that period for other reasons. But during my second job, an opportunity opened up at the city to be a planning director. But I told myself I did not want to do that job because it's very political. You're going to have to interact with politicians. You're going to have to deal with a lot of things. And I just didn't know if I was ready for that. I knew I wanted to be a chief executive officer somewhere one day, and I've been interviewed for positions that will move me out of the area. But I felt that this was God leading me to be in Charlotte. So I didn't want to leave Charlotte. And so eventually, The jobs that I was getting didn't pan out. And then as the job that the city of Charlotte offered me to be planning director continued to remain open. So the more I prayed about it, the more I had peace, and the more I decided I was going to find out more. Then one day, as I was thinking about it, I remembered that journal that I wrote in
Oh,
1996 that I was going to the United States and I will become the planning director of a major American city. And
wow.
I realized, oh, this is the dream. There's no reason for me to be negotiating anymore because as a consultant, I was getting paid a lot. And as a result of this job, I was going to take about $40,000 in pay cut. And I didn't want to do that. But after I got that, I got reminded of that. I had a conversation with my wife, honey, we're going to have to take a pay cut. I believe that this is the job that I'm meant to have. And so once I came to agreement with my wife, I called the city. I said, let's have a conversation. I know you're not going to be able to pay me, but I want to do this. And how are you going to make sure that this continues to be that influential position that it is? Because this director of planning for the city of Charlotte is a very influential position. Every land use decision about buildings, about anything you want to build in this city has to pass through my desk. I have influence with the mayor. I have influence with the city council. I have influence with past politicians, aspiring politicians. On a given day, everybody who is everybody in this city wants to have a conversation with me. And so it's a really powerful position. But at the same time, you understand that you're a public servant and
Yeah.
you are there to serve the people.
Mm,
And so, it's not just being planning director for 5,000 people, it's planning director for almost 900,000 people in this city. And as an assistant city manager, not only do I oversee the planning department, I also oversee the transportation department, the housing and neighborhood services department, where you have conversations around affordable housing. And I also oversee the public transit department as well. And so it's a cool position to be in. But I go into that position every single day with humbleness of heart, knowing that I am put in this place, not for this job, but because it's a calling, and that I serve the people of this city. And I have to put my best feet forward every day. And my wife, Ronke, reminds me all the time, in this job, there is no opportunity for me to not have my dial up all the time. I have to constantly be on the up and up. And so, which means I have to be on, I have to be ready in season, out of season. You do, like I was telling you prior to, being on here, that really I get media interviews every week. And some I prepare for, some I don't have time to prepare for. So you got to have it in you,
mm,
to be able to do this. But at the end of the day, know very well that you're not a celebrity. You are a public servant
mm.
serving the will of the people, paid by taxpayer dollars, and
Yeah,
everybody would demand accountability for every single penny. And so I go into it every day understanding that, but I love it. I don't wake up on Monday morning, oh my gosh, I got to go back there. No, I love every single moment of this work because it's not a job, it's a calling.
that's wow. That's amazing. That's a blessing. I like the part that you said, and maybe you need to maybe have a meeting with some of the leaders of the country, some politicians and stuff. Let them know this is not a celebrity position.
Uh-huh,
We
uh-huh.
put you there to do this. This is what you're being paid for. Do the
Yeah.
work. So
Mhm. Do the work.
you think you're gonna be maybe go get into politics and stuff?
that,
You should be a senator or something.
that's a conversation we continue to have in my family all the time. But when I see what's going on in the country, I tell myself, is this something I want to drag my family through? Ronke is such a sweet spirit. I don't want to drag her through
Yeah,
any messy stuff. But
yeah,
at the same time, I believe that I have been put in this position to serve,
yeah.
and I believe that I can do my job better being in this position,
Mm,
serving the people.
very
And they did not have to vote for me to be in this position. I was appointed to be in here, and I intend to continue to do it. But if there's a door that opens, maybe one day in the political arena, and like everything else, we pray and we are at peace with that direction. Who knows? We may decide to look in that direction. But right now, I'm loving this.
Very good, very good. So, like for someone that's looking for a mentor, like a young man, what would you say to them, like in finding a mentor?
It's very important, like I said earlier on before, don't seek a mentor who is a stepping stone for you to get somewhere, or somebody that you're going to get something from rather than something out of. And so I've got mentors, and I always make sure that I check on them, not because I need them to teach me something or to, some learning moment, but to also find out about their welfare and how they're doing, because it's a relationship and
Yeah.
it's a two-way relationship. So if
Mm.
you're seeking a mentor, you want somebody who is going to help shape your life, but also somebody that if they say something to you, even if you don't agree with it, you are at least going to consider thinking about what they're advising you. So you may say, I don't necessarily agree, but they've got years of experience, in order for them to be able to advise me this way. And if you have a mentor in your life, their goal at the end of the day is to help you become better. And
Yeah.
so if you can see that there's a measurable impact of the, of their presence in your life, then keep them. Stay in that relationship. Don't exploit it. Just continue to explore opportunities for them to be able to help you get to where they're gonna, you want to get to. And frankly speaking, you know, your mentors don't necessarily need anything much from you.
Mhm.
I'm not so totally inclined to say to people that, hey, if I'm mentoring you, you got to give me something. No, your mentor are people who are secured and fulfilled in themselves.
Yeah.
And so they just want you to be a better person and probably even succeed more than they did. And
Yeah.
so if your mentor is constantly looking to you for something, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
If your mentor is insecure, there's a problem. If your mentor is unfulfilled, then there's a problem. Then you need to keep looking. Your mentor wants you to be better. And that is the way I always look at it, is this. And I always say to people, are you a mentor or are you a tormentor?
Mm.
Because if a mentor will make your life such a pleasure, a tormentor will make you want to run away every time they show up, or you see their name on your caller ID, you want to run, you don't want to pick it up because they want something. But if your mentor is calling you, you want to pick up the phone because you know they're out for your good,
Yeah.
not to give you grief.
That's very good. That's very good. I know that was on the list, but something that came to people always tell that to me is like, um, even when you're trying to become successful or you're trying to get into a certain influence, and it's who you know. What do you
Yes.
think about it? It's like, oh well, it's who you know. What do you think about that?
And frankly speaking, to a degree, it is very true. As long as you know that, but you're not taking advantage of it. I mean,
Mm.
for example, I think some folks know now. Um, I have friends who are in the Biden incoming administration right now, but I don't pick up the phone to be calling them because I want something.
Mm.
I just know that when the right time comes, they will be the one to open that dialogue with me. And so I don't, as long as you know what you know, but you're not out to take advantage, because it is true. So many people, sometimes it is who they know. But I will tell you, I am not in this position today because I knew the person who hired me. No, the most important person you and I, or anybody listening to us tonight, can know is God,
Yes.
through Jesus. Once you do that, the favor of God will open the doors for you and He will keep you there.
Yeah.
Because I always say that what you strive to attain, you're going to also strive to maintain.
Yes.
If you strive to attain something, you're going to constantly have to strive to maintain it. And after a while, you get exhausted and you just quit. So favor of God will open doors. And
Yeah.
then, people, they're just secondary.
Okay. Okay, guys, if you're just tuning in, we're gonna take like a quick break just to I'm gonna give you guys some announcements or some things that we have coming up. And if you're just tuning in, we have Mr. Taiwo, and I know this interview is going really well right now, and I mean I'm learning a lot from it, and I'm really thankful. So we're gonna some of the things I want to talk about real quick. Um, to put up a, my husband's going to put up a flyer where we have our annual Christmas drive, which is going to be in a couple weeks. And everybody knows that I have a charity, and we usually try to do our best to help the public. So we have the Christmas toy drive, but with that, we are also doing a food drive. I've already had some families that reached out to me, and they were asking, are you giving out food for Christmas? So I'm like, okay, you know, we're gonna try. So if you guys want to support that drive, we're looking for people to donate, so that way we'll be able to make sure that you have either a ham, a turkey, and a basket of food, and stuff like that. In, I think it was November, we had a concert, and it went really well. But we're gonna do it again. The last Sunday in December, we're going to have another virtual concert, and I know we're gonna have Barbados and a few islands, Jamaica, Ohio is gonna be in the house, and it's gonna be amazing. So December 20, I think it's the 27th, the last Sunday in December, same time, same station. So make sure you guys are ready for that. And one of the things I'd really love for you guys to do is to visit our channel, and even our YouTube channel as well, and go ahead and subscribe and like it, and just give us your support. And we really encourage for everybody that is just supporting us, praying for us, helping us. And we're going to bring Taiwo back on, and we're going to talk about something that I think that was really, really interesting. I saw a beautiful mural, Black Lives Matters. Tell us. I mean, I was watching that, and there it is. Let our viewers check it out for a little bit. This is amazing.
Yes, it is.
And this is actually on the street, right? This is
Yes, it is on the street in Charlotte Main Street, Tryon Street.
Wow. So then, because then I saw the video, and I'm like, wait, this is actually, so the cars literally drive over it and everything like that?
So we blocked it for 5 months after it was installed, and we just only reopened it a couple weeks ago, last month.
That is amazing. When I said, I was like, wow, I think so. So tell us the story being that, because we know in the last few months with the Black Lives Matter, and one thing I always tell say to my listeners, sometimes when all these things happen, everybody's on top of it and we're excited, and then it dies down, and not doing anything. And I really don't want stuff to die. I want us to continue being intentional. And I think this is really intentional. You can't miss that. So tell us a little more about that.
So it testifies to the power of social media. So on June 5th, I saw what Mayor Bowser in DC did as an aftermath of George Floyd's murder, painted Black Lives Matter mural on, I believe it was on Pennsylvania Avenue in DC. And I thought, what if we could do that in Charlotte on our main street and leave it there for 2 weeks and create a place, an environment where people could gather together, and where Black people who typically don't come into your downtown, because most African Americans see downtown, we call it Uptown in Charlotte, they see that as corporate center. And so they feel, I don't have any business there, why should I go there? And so when I saw what Mayor Bowser did, I thought, how about we create a place in Charlotte for people to gather like that? So I tweeted it on June 5th. And by June 9th, the mural was down. Creatives, artists, muralists, different people came down to Charlotte and came out, from their studios and all the stuff they were doing. And they saw it as a call, to action, and installed the Black Lives Matter mural in response to that tweet. I had envisioned it would be on the street for 2 weeks. It ended up being on the street for 5 months, and before we reopened the streets, and we still have it actually on right now with vehicles driving on it, but we have another plan in place for it. So that very evening, there have been protests as a result of George Floyd's murder in Charlotte. Like most American cities, there have been protests on every nightly, it was a nightly occasion, and there have been protests. But that very night, police officers and protesters gathered on this particular mural
Mm-hmm.
and there was no protest that evening.
Wow.
It was a healing moment, and it became a sacred place. Were there people who were upset about it? Yes, I had quite a number of people say they also wanted to pay, install MAGA, um, on the street and all of that. But for the most part, people felt this was a moment of unity. This was a moment of healing. This was some. I saw an older man, he's 75 years old, who said to me, "I grew up here. I did not know in my lifetime such a thing is possible in Charlotte." Because there's so much segregation in our city, like many American cities today.
Yeah.
And so that's the story behind it. And frankly speaking, it's amazing that people tell me that the story of the Black Lives Matter mural in Charlotte could not be told without my name in there. I totally am in, I'm in humbleness of heart, because it was not something that I did because I was bold to do it. I wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do. But the more I spoke to my wife, the more she said to me, if you don't do it, who will?
Well,
If you
yeah.
don't lead it, who will? And so once I secured the support of my boss, once I secured the support of the mayor, once I secured, our legal support, and I knew all the docs were lined up, I just felt, all right, let's do that. And it's true. If I didn't take the step to lead it, who would?
Well,
And so I'm glad that I did step forward. And today, really, it's allowed a lot of artists and muralists to get engaged in, creating a vibrant Charlotte.
very good, which I guess will lead us to our next question. But that's amazing. I like it. Like if you don't do it, then
Mhm.
who will?
Yeah.
And shout out to my girlfriend Ron K, man. I know she's a powerful woman. I know she's amazing. I want to just give her a shout out. You sang a really great one. I'm telling you. Mm,
Yes.
oh, yeah, I know. But I really, when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is just so amazing. And just I think it speaks more about bringing healing when you
Yes.
have different people come together. And a lot of times we are afraid to do things, we're afraid to speak. And I'm glad that people are coming forward and being bold, and
Mhm.
not just it's not just all of us don't just want to riot and fight and stuff like that. No, that's
Mhm.
it's like people have this perception that, like you said before, when we come from the islands or the places, like we come like poor people and we're just looking for a handout. Now we are very
Yeah.
smart people,
Yes.
we
Exactly.
there may be better opportunities sometimes,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, but we're looking, even with the Black Lives Matters and all this stuff that's going, looking for healing to not
Yes.
the next generation, that there's something different that they can look forward to, that when we pass that mantle to them, it's more uplifting and empowering. It's not just like, we're just going to act crazy and stuff. No, 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 no. And that's why, it was important to me to, to have you on there. And even before our show, we highlight a lot of our people to let our young people know it's possible for you. And like you said, if you had to write a book, you did not wake up like this. And I know you're going to write a book, and that might be the topic, but to let them know, like Les Brown always say, your dreams are possible. You
Mhm.
have to work hard, you will go
Yes.
up and down, and
That
that
is
is the
true.
legacy that we want to leave for our people. Our show really, our focus is on international people from global, the Caribbean,
Yes.
just different parts of the world. Because sometimes when we come here, a lot of us try to change our culture. We try to change so much stuff that if we would go back home, they wouldn't even know
Yeah.
who we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some of that we want to leave that legacy for our children and our children's
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Yes.
Totally.
So the next question I have is, how do you see this and other artistic work of this nature being brought into redesigning and with Charlotte, revitalizing?
So I'll tell you that has actually been happening prior to the mural. But what the mural did was it brought it into the public realm. And as a matter of fact, that has become a springboard for a number of collaboration between the city and artists. And how do create not just a mural on the street, because that was a snapshot in time, right? It was a moment we had to capture of so many racial unrest going on in the country. And it wasn't about the Black Lives Matter movement as much as it was to capture the emotions and the feelings of people at that point in time. And when I talk to the artists about, can you recreate the Black Lives Matter mural somewhere else? they quickly said to me, it's difficult. You can recreate the art, but you cannot recreate the passion and energy that went into it, because passion and energy is so important to art. So what we've been doing since then is finding opportunities for artists to create vibrancy in environments, screening blank walls with murals, for example, developing, destinations, places where people can actually find it. So we've actually created over 15 murals on the streets in Charlotte, because because we know that not many vehicles are driving as a result of the lockdown, shutdown. So we've actually taken over some streets where we gave these artists about we had 15 murals, 15 artists, $15,000. And we just engaged all of them. We also know that because they're going through a rough time as a result of the virus, paying them some money to do this work has been very, very helpful for them as well. So we continue to push it. In my department, we have a group called Placemaking, and that placemaking group forms this partnership with artists to create a lot of artwork in our city.
That's very good. That's very good. So are there plans like projects involving schools, student
Yes.
input, and if so, what areas?
Yeah, this is one area, the mural. We see a lot of students. We also have internship. Right now, we suspended that because of the coronavirus, but hopefully we're going to relaunch it next summer. We've also been working on our 20-year plan. So we've involved a lot of elementary school kids, middle schoolers, high schoolers. They actually helped us to create a game, city building game. That they play. So we know that today, a 5-year-old today in 20 years' time will be 25 years old. So getting them involved today is very important.
That is very good. I mean, very, very good thinking ahead. Wow, you are the right person for the job. You definitely have. So what
Thank you.
is like going for? What is your vision for Charlotte? Because I know
I
that
just,
now.
I just, I just want a city where everybody feels they belong. I don't know if you remember this show from I believe it was the 90s, Cheers, right? Cheers. And
Yes,
it had a song there that says, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And I want Charlotte to be like that, a city where people feel they belong,
yeah.
that they're not just a number, but that they belong here, that you don't have to be white to feel you can successful in Charlotte. You don't have to be rich to feel you can succeed in this place. You can be low income, you can be Hispanic, you can be African American, you can be Asian American, and believe that you belong here and therefore can succeed here.
And I believe you. I'm sure you have that written in your journal again, and that's another
Yeah,
one that's gonna come true, right,
I
David?
do.
And
I
I
do.
believe, um, so in Charlotte, because I don't really know much about that. I think I went. Where did I go? Oh, I'm thinking somewhere else. I'm thinking South Carolina. Well, I think I went to the beach over there where they had
Uh-huh.
this restaurant with a lot of seafood and
Yeah.
just so I was thinking that. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. So I'm definitely gonna have to come and definitely have to come and visit.
You
But is it
should.
more of a rich city, or is there like is it what kind of place is it like?
So Charlotte is the second largest banking city in the United States after New York. So
Oh,
they call it the New South City. If you arrive in Uptown Charlotte, it's very beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it's always equal distance between the mountains and the beach. And so it's either 1.5 hours to 2 hours each way, each direction. But there's a lot of museums here. There's a lot of opportunities for restaurants. I mean, to eat out, to do because we have outdoor dining. Even in Charlotte right now, because we block certain streets to encourage the restaurants to be able to expand outside. And we have a lot of we're also the NASCAR city, so we have a NASCAR museum, Speedway. This is the birthplace of NASCAR. So Charlotte has got a lot to offer. As a matter of fact, they used to say Charlotte's tag was Charlotte's got a lot, because there's just so much going on in this city.
wow, that's very interesting. I know what Tim asked. We have a few more questions,
Yes.
and we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna have to maybe have you come back, and then I tell Ronke she's gonna need. I'm gonna have two of you on there one day too. So get ready.
Okay.
So you mentioned in your vision an equitable, livable, sustainable, and inclusive Charlotte. How challenging is that to accomplish in this racially tension environment?
Oh, it is. I hear people who come to me and tell me that I should take out the word equity, because they only when they hear the word equity, they think it's about race. Yes, it is, but it's not the only thing. Equity also means treating people with physical ability and treating people with physical disability, treating them fairly. It's about age. So whether you are 18 or 82, I've got to plan a city for you that can be equitable. And so it's tough for people to swallow it. And when they hear that you're trying to get voices that have not participated in city building to the table. But I also have a position of influence, and I tell people all the time, I say, if I'm not doing this, who will do it?
Yeah,
I intend to leverage my position to make sure that I do this and create that equitable and sustainable and inclusive city.
very good, very good, very good. Okay, going on to this famous. Oh, I almost don't even want to mention its name, but COVID has
Yeah.
impacted on all communities and cities around the U.S. And as we approach Christmas, there are increases in cases. How is your community dealing with this, and what planning have been put in place until the vaccine and all this other stuff become a reality?
We continue to respond to it as our governor has done a marvelous job of gradually reopening the state. We continue to mask up. It's the same thing we're doing in our family. We actually shut down. We have not been to church service since March in person. We've been doing it virtually online, and it hasn't taken anything away from us spiritually. We do miss being in church physically, but it has not taken anything away from us. We know this, not just in my family, but also as a city. Whatever it is that we're missing this year because of COVID-19, it's because of COVID-19. That doesn't mean those things have gone away. There will still be birthdays. There will still be Thanksgiving. There will still be Christmas. There will still be Easter. We have many more years. We should just pray that God keep us through and keep us safe. But we should do what we can to make sure we're safe. And in our city, we do that. 90% of our employees are working remotely, and we've encouraged, our buildings to make sure that they are being cleaned as regularly as possible. And so, like I said, we're not allowing restaurants to have maximum capacity. We allow them to use their parking spaces and streets to be able to accommodate dining. So it's different ways, and there's never an easy answer to this thing because it involves all the time. But as it evolves, we try to follow the steps for reopening.
Oh, very good. And I was going to ask, well, how has your family cope about with the COVID?
Yeah,
I know
it was a struggle.
you're trying to go out and stuff like
Yeah.
that. How is that going?
It was a struggle initially. Ronka and I were meant to go to Dubai last year, and we were not able to go because of COVID-19. But we've had to sacrifice like every other family, but we also know that it's temporary.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, the children have adjusted. Doing school virtually is a challenge, but we also know with time we get better.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
it's not easy for Ronke working in the bank and also being a teacher at home and doing all of that. But we're not the only families doing this. So
yeah.
we worry so much though for families that don't have enough, who have lost their sources of income. So this Christmas, we have been trying to support other families, and we hope and encourage that others will do the same thing as well.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. And then that's what, even if what we're doing right now with our Christmas drive, because I mean, sometimes we don't. I always say there are some people who give to this big organization.
Yes.
You don't know where it really goes, but there are some people right in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I get messages from people in my city in Atlanta, and then say, "Well, are you giving food boxes?" And I mean, they have 3 children, 5 children, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's tough for a lot of people. Normally, we normally do the toy drive every year under normal circumstances, and
Yes.
um, to now this is not a normal circumstance. So thank you for even saying that
Yes.
being able to give back, and that's what our organization is doing. Like we raise money, but then we make sure the kids get their toys, and we're working with Toys for Tots as well. And I thank God for the opportunity to be able to help. And even one of the people that we're trying to help is military families of fallen soldiers, or not just
Mm-hmm.
fallen military people.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we don't realize the struggle that they're going through. And my nephew is actually going to be on the show in the next couple of weeks. He's a sergeant
Yes.
in the army, and he's going to really be just talking to us. So that is one of the things I want to encourage people Check your neighbor, check your friends. See, there's someone out there. We may not be struggling. We may know how to deal with it, but there are people that are really hurting.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, still,
Mhm.
yeah. So, um, well, our time has come and gone. This has really good. So the last question I have for you is, what is your advice to young persons desirous of making a difference in the community and the country as a whole? So we have
Okay.
young people that listen to us. I know I invited my nephew on there, and there's some things he's trying to do for himself. But talk to our young people, not just our young people, to someone that may be on the verge of giving up, or just thinking,
Mhm.
what, this is taking too long, or I don't see how this is gonna be
Mhm.
possible. Just talk to us from your heart, please.
Well, I'll be brief here. The first thing is to let you know, as a young person, that a lot of great things that we have achieved in our history as human beings, especially as a nation, has been achieved by young people. Young people have been military generals, they've been presidents, they've been governors, they've been senators, they've been in the House of Representatives, they've been mayors. Young people have done amazing things. Sometimes we don't see them, but they are writing books. They are making a difference in the lives of other people. So continue to cultivate and build relationships, not seeking relationships for what you will, get. You exploiting them, but rather how it can really help shape you to become a better person. Be determined. Unless you are headed in a wrong direction, don't quit. Be determined, because you won't succeed unless you stick to it. Learn, learn, learn. That's very important. Learn, 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 because a lot of lessons today may not necessarily make sense, but tomorrow they may. Then, no little experience, no small exposure is meaningless. If you're given an opportunity to show up at a dinner or at a function, you feel you don't know people there, just go, because you never know what that opportunity may result in. So, whatever that exposure may be, whatever that experience may be, it may be minor. Take advantage of it, because there could be something in there for you. Pay attention to the little things. Like I often say to people, little hinges swing huge doors. Pay attention to little things, because they may be the very thing that will move your career and move you faster than you could ever have imagined. And then God matters. God matters.
Yeah,
The God factor in every equation makes a huge difference.
yeah,
God factor in any equation makes a huge difference. So don't forget, whatever you do, whatever you pursue, take a break, look to God, listen to Him, and let Him lead and guide you. Thank you for the opportunity once again.
well, thank you very much. And to those that are just, maybe joining us in the end, you can go back and watch this. It's going to be on our television network. It's also going to be on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live, and just, we'll be there. So I encourage you, if you're just joining us, to go back and watch it. And we've been talking to Taiwo Jaiyeoba. Is it Jaiyeoba?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, close enough. Currently, he serves as the assistant city manager and director of planning and design and development with the city of Charlotte. My brother, thank you very much. It was just real. Thank you, because this is what the show is about. It's real life, real issues, real people. Just talking, just being real. And I thank you for being open. I thank you for giving us such wisdom, and your humility. It speaks so much volume, and we're just so grateful. And I pray that our viewers will be encouraged by your words, and by your testimonies, and by the empowerment. And I just want to say thank you, and give my love
Thank
to
you.
your beautiful wife and your family. And I'm looking forward, once this thing is over, for us to hang out in person. So God
Yes.
bless you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Say hi to your husband. Thank you.
Okay,
Take
God
care.
bless.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.